Alrighty. So we got a brand new one today. The effect that the user is going for is this sword that's broken with the words notice across it. And if you look at this one, this is the original that this user sent me. This is what we're going to base this on. We're going to get pretty close, I think. This one here, this attempt, looks like a trace bit map with a fill stitch. Depending on the size that you're using, that you're putting it on, is not real good. The size requested was inside of a 100 by 100 mm hoop. 83, I think, was requested. So that's what we're going to base it on. This should be a fairly short video, I think. And I have Inkstitch running in my documents property, which you can get to from file and document properties right there. We're going to change this to mm so that we have a good reference. And 100 by 100 is maximum requested, and we're just going to stay inside of that, end up roughly 85 or 90 mm tall, obviously. Now we're going to import that sword image, that one. We're going to import that in. Obviously it's way too big. Let me get my that gadget. Okay, so we have that going right now. I'm going to hit this little lock button right here so that when I resize it, it keeps the dimensions. I'm going to slide this down. And we're going to go a little bigger. Okay, so we're going to be inside of that. Right now, we are 98 mm, and there's a little bit of space on both ends. We should be pretty close. I'm going to keep that selected, go to fill, and under fill, I'm going to turn my opacity down so that me working around the edges is going to show through a little better. And there we go. Alrighty. The first part of this is we're going to actually work this one from the bottom up because I want to do the hilt last. Hilt. I want to do this part last. For some reason it escapes me. Anyway, we'll call it the hand guard. We're going to do that thing last because it should overlap the other two pieces in general. So we're going to start down here. We're going to just create. Go right about to there. And we're going to kind of sort of go along the other side. And when we get to here, we're going to not take quite such a hard break, but we can go pretty close. And pretty close to there. Now we have to make some cross rungs because obviously it does not have the same number of nodes in it. So we're going to make some rungs. We're going to piece that together. We're going to combine and extensions Inkstitch params. And set that to custom satin stitch. And there's what we end up with. Alrighty. Outstanding. That looks pretty good. Just for this, I think we're gonna tighten that up a little bit. Instead of 0.4, we're gonna go 0.35. No, 354. We're gonna go 0.35. Just to tighten up that stitch a little bit. Hit apply and quit. Come up here and we're going to do the same thing. Do right about there. And do our rungs. click, and then hold the control button and click. Click, control button, click. I keep getting ahead of myself, hitting the control button first, and it don't like that. I'm going to adjust this one right here so that this comes out a little bit. And that one too. Okay. And select them all. Control K to combine. Extensions, Inkstitch, params. Once you have adjusted the stitch density, you make sure you do it on all of them. So we're going to change all of them. 0.35. Looks good, looks good. And we're just going to keep doing that for all of these up through here. So I'm going to speed this up probably. This is going to be a short video again. Okay, so now that we're here, I'm going to start doing some of my own understitching. So I need to go back into params. I want to see which side that ends on. Ends on the right hand side. So we're going to run a running stitch up to, oh, I guess up to here. I'm going to hit params just to make sure it's running stitch, which I think is default. The default thing these days. Hit apply and quit because it is. And then we're going to go from there down. So check out how I do this one. This one I want to be pretty symmetrical. So having done that, I'm going to extend this down a little bit more. And I'm going to extend these two up a bit more. Okay. So I'm going to go back to this one. Now that I have that one drawn out, I'm just going to duplicate it and flip it. And then pull it over. I'm holding the control button so that I get a exactly straight in line pull on that. Now I'm going to select both of those. They have the exact same number of nodes directly across from each other, so I don't have to do rungs. Combine, extensions, Inkstitch, params, satin column, custom satin column. There is our handle. It ends on the left hand side. Let's tighten that stitch up too. Make sure it still ends on the left hand side. And it does. That's what we want. Hit apply and quit. And we're going to do another running stitch over here. Right to there. And we should be able to do this one exactly the same way. So I'm going to go in here and start this. And we're kind of duplicating what we just did. And it should be absolutely straight across. Yeah, looks pretty good. And same thing, going to duplicate it. I'm going to flip that over, drag it up. Put them two together, combine, Inkstitch params, satin column, custom satin column, and 3/5. Apply and quit. Now we're going to take a look at the whole thing. Let's go ahead and I guess we can go ahead and delete this image. We're going to take a look at this. Extensions, Inkstitch, visualize. Let's see what it looks like without the trim or without the jump stitches. So right here where it says render jumps, I'm going to turn that off, and that's what we look like. There's your realistic. Looks like it might be a little bit too dense, honestly. So since it looks a little bit too dense, I'm going to select all of them. All of them. All of them. Okay. The running stitches don't apply, but it should separate them out. Params, satin column. That's what I want. Satin column. I'm going to set that back to 4 where it was originally by default. Hit apply and quit. I'm going to also that one, and that one. We're going to go ahead and do, which we can actually do in params. Let's do it in params. I almost never do it in params. Let's go ahead and tell it to trim after. Right here, trim after. I almost never do that in params. Old habits die hard, and I'm still doing it from the attach command. So we're going to try it that way. Extensions, Inkstitch, visualize, simulator. And okay, that looks better. Oh, that looks better. Hit realistic. Okay, that looks better. It looked a little too dense. It looked like, and if it's too dense, you'll start having problems with the thread. Now, having done that, I'm going to change the color on that to a sort of a gray. Press shift and then hit color. Make sure it's not a fill color. So now we have lighter gray, because if you look at the original attempt, they want notice written across here, and I'm just going to cheat and use some Inkstitch fonts. And we'll set that to a different color. Then your sword can be whatever color you want it to be. Your words can be whatever color you want it to be, and they won't be the same. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm just going to use a Inkstitch, something kind of sort of similar. And let's go with let me see that. Okay. Pretty rounded. Okay. I know which one. I think I know which one to go with. Let's go with maybe this one. And it's all in caps. So lock caps. Notice. Pretty close. And that's the one we're going to go with because it's pretty close. We can size this down a little bit. We're going to drop this down. And again, with the lock locked, we're going to bring this up a little bit. Bring it up a hair more. We should be pretty good. Now, if you're worried about making a lettering too small, we'll just delete that and start over. Go to Inkstitch. Since we know what size it's going to be now, let's go to lettering. We're going to pick the same lettering, which I don't remember what it was. Was it this one? I think it was this one. Now, it says can go down to 80%. So we're on scale. We're going to go ahead and set this to 80%. That's their recommended minimum. Doesn't mean you can't go smaller than that, but that is their recommended minimum. Notice. Hit apply and quit. It's a little bit smaller than the original, and we're going to shrink it just a hair more. You don't want to shrink it too much. Okay, let's see what the whole thing looks like. Inkstitch, visualize, simulate. Speed up. And there you go. And you can move this word around. See where it was. Okay. Underneath most of the sword breaks. So we move it around. We move it down just a little bit. Get out of that. Bring our system back. We're going to move it down a little bit. Somewhere about right there. And we're going to call this one done. Do another preview. This will be my screenshot. Outstanding. Looks good. Hit realistic. There you go. Not bad. And again, short, 20 minutes. By the time I edit, probably about 15-ish. Nice short little video. That's it. And as always, thanks for watching.